around a little bit. But this one at the top from Christiana has gotten a bunch of votes, more than any other by far, which is, what do you anticipate on the evolution of our body capacities in the nearest future?
I anticipate that our bodies are gonna have capacities that are vastly different than they are today, just because of some of those developments of unification of science,
Mm,
and which includes biology. And when you understand the foundation of the physics of biology, then you can act on biology in a way that is very, very positive at the very fundamental level. So I assume that very soon we will be able to live much longer, much healthier, as a result of these developments. So, hi, Christiana.
Hi, good morning to
It's good
you.
to see you again.
Good to see you too. I see gold is the new violet now.
Ah, yes,
Or
yes,
your yeah,
yeah,
I'm
the gold
loving it.
one. It's not actually gold. It's a treatment on the titanium, but it looks just like gold.
That
mhm.
looks fantastic.
And
That's my favorite color of all
we're,
time.
we're testing it to make sure it stays nice. And so far, it's extremely resistant because I've been beating it up.
I wouldn't
That's
imagine you would have done this to a crystal, but that's nice to know.
To the pendant, not the crystal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So yeah, that was a good question. This is the base of the technology. The crystal universe,
Mm.
to help with the biology and to help with the
I'm
longevity.
asking, yeah, go ahead, sorry.
No. What were you gonna
I'm
say?
asking also because there's research in Russia and other parts that are saying that our bodies are also evolving from carbon to crystal. So basically, we are becoming crystals as well.
Well,
So
yeah, I've heard that since the
what do you think?
90s. But yeah, and I saw studies from the Russians as well. Yes. But yes, and my point of view on this is that it's always been a crystal, like
There you go.
it's not anything new.
Yeah.
Carbon is you yeah I like there's piezoelectric dynamics in the body, there's connective tissue, all this stuff has, like silica, for instance, and so on. And so this is like very much the body, even the neuron structures and so on, act already very much like a crystal.
Like a crystal.
Yeah, and there's liquid crystal in some of the glands in the body, including the pineal gland and all this. So for me, it's like the idea that we're becoming that is more the idea that we're discovering that, the
Yes.
body acts very much as a crystal, and so does the universe. So you'd expect that from the body. So it's yeah, and that's part of your question. That's the part that makes it so that we can now develop technology to really influence the body in a very positive way at the very fundamental level, because we understand its nature, right? Which before was not so obvious. And Because unified physics doesn't just unifies the forces, the scale, and the physical constants. Well, it does. And as a result, everything that is made out of physics, which happens to be our body, is explained as well, meaning it's unified as well. That is, like, from the same theory, we can scale to get biology, right? And so, which is not the current state of physics. So this gives us a direct insight into how to influence the body in such a way that it can be most coherent and live healthy and long lives. Now, I could expect from this that we would be able to live hundreds of years because there's no reason for cells to degrade. And that's been proven in laboratory. Cells can live indefinitely if you give them the right things. And so, and it might sound uh, outrageous to say that, but even in a few generations, like which cosmologically very short, like from 150 years ago to now, we've almost doubled the life expectancy of
I,
everybody just by developing, certain habits and technologies that allows us to, have a better and longer life. Now, the unfortunate thing is that in the last few years, that has started to decline. That's because some of the technology is not necessarily very supportive of biology. And so, we have to rectify the aim, and that requires a new understanding of biology that's deeper than the chemical behavior of biology.
so
Yeah.
if you were to look at it, what would be the fastest and best way to evolve our bodies past our current condition, which seems to, in the case of some individuals, it seems to decline, decay? What would be the first and fastest way to actually upgrade it instead of downgrade it?
Well, yeah, well, I just want to say it tends to decay for everybody. But yeah, um, of course, being very attentive to what you're being exposed to in terms of what you're ingesting, where you live, how much radiation you're undergoing, and so on. Your stress level, your emotional state. I mean, there's all sorts of level, to get the crystal to resonate, at the highest, possibility for the person. That would be really, so if you think of your body as a bio oscillating crystal, then think of the crystal being um, on a scale of like very pure, right? Like a crystal you could see through because there's not much impurities in them, or that has low opacity, or more opaque because there's a lot of structure breaking in the crystal. So that at least gives you a very fundamental visual to what you are going to try to achieve, in improving. So you can think of for even yoga or meditation and all these things as improving the resonance frequency of the thing, because um, so let's follow the logical path. So that it's acting as a crystal, and it's a crystal that's oscillating. And if you look at the oscillation, you like I'm talking physical oscillation. Your heart is beating, you're breathing. Those are all like very specific. Like your lungs are expanding, your chest is expanding, and then it's contracting, and you're moving, and blood is going around, and the heart is beating, and there's interstitial fluids that are moving around. They're going through the lymph nodes. There's like your spinal cord fluids going up into your brain and back down. And so you could like summarize all that to like the fundamental resonance frequency of your crystal, right? At any time and any moment. We know those rates are changing, like depending on your level of stress in the environment, right? That like
State, thought
emotional,
patterns.
yeah. So you want to tune that to like a fairly like constant. You're trying to not have too many peaks and valleys in there, right? You want the crystal to try to stay kind of right, and that's really tough. I fail at that almost every day, but definitely, you can improve on the frequency, or if it goes out of resonance, like how fast it comes back into resonance. you know all this is really um kind of things you can do to improve, at least, start to change your relationship to your body, and then have an easier way to have a path forward to increase. And then, technologies that are emerging, for instance, technologies that are allowing water to be highly structured and all this, the structuring of the water in your body and all this, those are the technology I was talking about that are going to help us actually regain, the health we used to have, both for our body, but as well for the environment. Because these technologies as well provide energy, provide gravity drives, all this stuff. So, it's on its way.
Do
But
you think that at some point we will be able to like teleport and bilocate this device of ours? The physical body.
yeah, yeah, that's in the works, for sure, because we're already teleporting or using entanglement to transfer data from satellite to ground, which that was achieved in the last few years. And so, okay, I'm going to make a big extrapolation right now that, scientists might have a hard time understanding where I'm going, but I assure you it's based on the math of the physics I'm writing right now. It's no big step to go from information being transferred across the entangled nodes, to transferring proton. Eventually, those are photons that are being exchanged, to eventually exchanging electrons and protons and atoms and material and
Matter.
yeah, matter. Yeah, exactly. So, that is definitely down the line, is just not immediate. However, when the theory gives you the formalism to achieve that, then it becomes just a matter of an engineering path to get to it. And that can take some time, because, for instance, we've known about entanglement since almost 100 years, and we just achieved in the last few years the capacity to transfer photons that way, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, basically, the consciousness of
Great.
humanity has to match these steps in science evolution.
Well, the
So-
good news is that it's not going to take 100 years from unified physics. It's going to take very little time, because the curve is accelerated. It's an exponential, right? The advancements of technology, and so it's gonna be pretty fast. That is, we might see it in our lifetime,
Mhm.
especially if our lifetime is extended by hundreds of years, because
Mhm.
we understand the fundamental mechanics of its functioning.
Nice.
that would be
Great.
awesome. That's a thing to look at and stay here for.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Thanks for joining again, Christiana.
Thank
So-
you,
Always lovely to
Christiana.
see you.
Thanks. It's great to have you again. Say hi to Romania.
Oh, I'm giving it a big hug. We're starting the festival now.
Oh, wonderful.
Great. All
Wonderful.
right. Be well.
Many hugs to you.
Okay.